When it comes to UFO videos and photos, I'd say about 80% of what gets reported tends to be the grainiest, most blurry, unrecognizable crap known to humankind. But don't worry folks, I've done some researching today for videos and photos I think are pretty credible, and for the most part, I don't think I've talked about any of them on here before. So let's dive into some freshness for once. Alrighty, how about we kick off today with old footage of a UFO flying near an airplane, and it's a clip that's always been an element of heated debate amongst UFO enthusiasts. So this 19-second footage, which is often claimed to be a clip of a lengthier video, shows a round, saucer-shaped object hovering near an airplane and then moving forward, maneuvering below the aircraft wing, and then flying upward. Apparently, it's a screen recording of the actual video, and there's a lot of theories about the origin of said clip. It was published on the internet several times in the late 2000s, and it's kind of difficult to figure out its origin date. Now, the earliest source of the video is YouTube. It was uploaded by a user on March 6th of 2008 with the caption "UFO from plane." The user described that the UFO was captured from the window of a blue panorama flight from Rome to Paris, allegedly on April 29th of 2006. But then there's other sources that are like, no, this was from the 1990s, saying clear evidence of military-tested saucer reproductions over US skies around Nevada desert. The footage is a late 90s recording, very short as the full video is now offline altogether. So, with all this hullabaloo, has the video been debunked? A lot of folks who claim to be working in the aviation field found the video too good to be true, but they couldn't provide a valid explanation for it being fake. Now, a lot of folks are like, okay, but it's computer generated. And then CGI experts were like, yeah, no, I don't think so. Let me know what you think in the comments. On August 18th, 1991, at around 10 p.m., Diane Labinek of West Carleton, Ontario, Canada, had just put her descendants to bed, and her husband was out running an errand, and the dog started to howl. So Diane investigated, and she witnessed something she just couldn't explain. To quote her, "I looked out the window and I saw flames in the field, extremely red flames and lots of smoke, but it didn't look like a fire. I know what a fire looks like when you start a fire out there when the grass is very dry, and if you start a fire it's going to move this way or closer to the woods, but this was staying in one spot." She saw a ship coming down close to the flames, and right on top of the ship she saw a blue flashing light, and another light was on the bottom, and it was very bright, and she didn't know what to do. She was looking at it for about 10 minutes, and then the ship went back a little bit over the trees, and then it disappeared, and then the flames all went out at the same time. And she's like, I don't want to see it again. It was scary. She's lived where she's lived for many, many years, and she's never been so scared in her life. Now, at first she was like, maybe I should call the police, but then she's like, well, what am I gonna tell them? I'm gonna tell them I saw flames out there past 10 o'clock at night, and there was a ship. And they were gonna say, oh, okay, Diane, that's fine. We're gonna take care of things. So she's like, no. According to Diane, apparently 10 minutes after the lights blinked out, a helicopter appeared, flew low to the ground over the field where all the unexplained lights had been. After crisscrossing the area, passed over Diane's house and disappeared into the night. Now, the next morning, Diane went out to explore, see if she could find anything, but zilch, zippo. No marks, no spots, no matches, just nothing. Now, she told her mom and her husband, but nothing. It just sort of bothered her in her brain for a very long time. She didn't want to tell anybody. She didn't want to be labeled a crank, but she was like, who's gonna believe me? She kept it to herself. So fast forward 6 months, February of 1992, a package from Canada arrived at the office of Bob Oshler, one of the more popular UFO researchers at the time. The package had no return address, but inside there were some documents, pictures, a map, and a videotape of the incident. Now, according to Bob, on the label there was the name Guardian, and it was accompanied by a fingerprint. Now, to him, it was an enigma. It had certainly nothing he'd ever heard about in UFO literature, so this was a mystery. Now, at the time, Bob had no idea about Diane's sightings, but the video accurately showed what she reported seeing. The tape showed a cluster of brightly burning red flames, similar to flares, and to the right hovered a dark disc-like object emitting a bright glow from its underside, and it was capped by a rapidly strobing blue light. To Bob, the tape looked real. He's like, I got a sense that this was a real event occurring in a field, as opposed to some prop set up in a room somewhere. He's like, okay, I think I'm dealing with something real here. The map that was included in the package directed Bob to, you guessed it, West Carleton, Ontario. So he asked his buddy, Graham Lightfoot, to join him, and when they interviewed Diane, she described exactly what was on the videotape. And she had not seen the tape. She had no idea that Bob knew what she knew, and she was able to describe things to a T that were included on the tape. Now we're gonna bring in Dr. Bruce Maccabee, who is a US Navy physicist and photo analyst, and he studied UFOs for years. And he's like, it is one of the clearest videos he's ever seen that shows a structured object. There's the beacon light, blue light, reflecting down on the body of the craft, the outline of the object itself, and you can see some sort of dark lines that appear, some brightness structure, indicating something generating light is hanging down below the object. It's also generating green light as well as blue light, and he believes the tape is not a fraud. He estimates the object to be 20 to 30 feet in diameter. And according to Bob, that's too big to be a hoax. He's like, it's so big that it would not be logical to try and set this all up at night under darkness. There would have been evidence during the day of movement of generators, somebody hauling cables, maybe some big thing that would have had to be brought in. So if there was a hoax, Diane would have seen something in advance or somebody packing something up afterwards. Also, people did audio analysis on the tape. All they heard was dogs. The craft itself seemed to be silent. There was no generator noise. And if the object was staged, that would have been necessary to run its massive lights. Ask any film set person ever. We're gonna bring in Dr. Robert Nathan. He's an expert when it comes to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He reviewed the tape in a non-official capacity and he's like, yeah, no, not a hoax. And after the incident, low-flying helicopters cruised over that area on a regular basis. They were black, green, or maroon in color, unmarked, and had darkly tinted windows. And those are not Canadian military helicopters. Where they came from, what they were searching for remains a mystery. According to an expert from the Canadian Forces, it's like, nope, Canadian military helicopters don't fly low in that area, and that doesn't match. Look, I'm just hoping the Guardian comes forward at some point and gives us a little more context. The Butterfly UFO was a strange flying craft spotted over the Ohio-Kentucky border by two men, father and son duo Tom and Christopher, as they were leaving a local restaurant. The craft appeared to be a large black craft that resembled a butterfly in shape, and upon zooming in on the photo, it's revealed that there's numerous glowing structures on the back of the craft. Tyler Glockner, who has been hosting the video on his paranormal-themed YouTube channel called Secure Team, is pretty adamant that the object is not something that could have been built by humans. Tyler claims that the duo who filmed the clip were unable to photograph the military helicopters which tailed the craft since they were going the other way. Look, I can't explain this craft myself. It's like nothing I've ever seen before out of a sci-fi flick. But once again, those weird military helicopters. Pattern of behavior, folks. How could I talk about today without mentioning the world's clearest UFO photo ever? It was taken approximately 30 years ago by two hikers in the Scottish Highlands. It was titled Calvine Photograph, and the negatives were handed over to Scotland's Daily Record newspaper. They in turn did their due diligence, sent it to the Ministry of Defense, and now nobody knows where they are. So according to reports, the photograph was captured on August 4th of 1990, around 35 miles northwest of Perth, close to Calvine. The hikers who spotted the flying object have remained unknown to this day. I don't blame them. The image shows a huge diamond-shaped object hovering in the sky with a smaller plane flying behind it. Now, according to those eyewitness accounts, the UFO hovered in the air for about 10 minutes before heading upwards and disappearing. It was around 100 feet in length, and that's all we know. Interesting. And finally, folks raised their voices when footage captured by pilot George Arteaga surfaced online. The object flies past the plane at high speed, seemingly defying the laws of physics, and the pilot managed to capture the UFO in surprisingly clear footage. Now, folks like me, who are like, ooh, footage, we've been pretty excited because, well, it shows an object appearing against the clear blue sky. You see this diamond-shaped thing, and it's 20,000 feet up. Now, while it could be a drone or another man-made object, I don't think so. UFO enthusiast The Hidden Underbelly posted the clip to YouTube and added the caption, "In this footage, we get a clear view of this object and it looks damn good. Seems to be a saucer-shaped craft." So, this clip has been viewed by millions of people, and the pilot alleged that he caught this glimpse when he was flying over Antioquia, Colombia. People online are regarding the video as the best UFO footage ever. Granted, yes, there are some skeptics, because when are there not? Somebody in the app formerly known as Twitter was like, I think it's just a balloon. It's just, it's not even moving. Or it's just an illusion from being in the plane. But like, I don't know, folks. Somebody else was like, oh, it's a Navy drone, because yes, military sometimes has stuff that we don't know about. A lot of folks also thought, maybe it's just a helium balloon. Now, I watched this clip. I watched it a couple of times. I don't think it's a balloon because it seemed much too solid at the altitude it was at, wasn't fluttering around. So let me know in the comments what you think. And that's it for me once again, folks. I've been Alexa, your resident ookie spooky girly, and I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.